Yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Rich and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour, using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project. Project, yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Rich and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour, using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project. Project, yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Rich and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour, using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project. Project, yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Rich and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour, using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project. Project, yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Rich and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour, using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Rich and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour, using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Rich and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour, using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Rich and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour, using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Rich and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour, using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Mitch and Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch the freak with the Greeks, professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Mitch and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch the freak with the Greeks, professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Mitch and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch the freak with the Greeks, professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Mitch and Mr. Rate Trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch the freak with the Greeks, professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Lomeli, power hour using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaway, Yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Mitch and Lomeli trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Normally, power hour using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that treat on camera, you know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best. Project 365 hosts. Project 365 live free, everyday proper count. Giveaways, trading the rate trades way. Project. Yeah. Project 365, trading live every day. Project 365, making money the rate trades way. We got Jake, Mitch and Lomeli trades, catching those level to levels. The mastermind, big brain, your main host with the most. Ripping the J's on stream, living the Puerto Rican dream. Got Mr. Mitch Gamma, the freak with the Greeks. Professor in the lab, making all of the reads. Writing that prescription, boy, you better listen. Normally, power hour using ICT, finding FVGs and scalping away, hitting TP, shouting cold RT, run G with the evening vibes, busting that oil. NYM, Mr. Ohio, you could say that's him. Alan Zhang, Mr. Midnight, giving out all the gems. If you see that,
what up?
You know he just nailed the winner. Project 365, always winning the most. These are the best of the best.
How we doing, guys? Happy to have you here with me today. Let's see. What's up? What's up? You guys see the new spread here? Huh? Not too shabby. See if I can get this lined up. What's up, Matterman, Luke, Paul, Vish, Luca, Miggy, Cole, Alex, what's up? Oh, all right. Yeah, I haven't painted the door and the trim. I just went for it. Went for it. We went all out. There we go. Excuse the mess in the background there. We'll not be too harsh of a judge on my old trading room setup here. Got a sign coming, gonna get my record shelves up. Have a little record of the day back there. Obviously my painting skills need a little work. I have some overspray, as you can see, over my shoulder. Right there. So we're gonna have to make a little design decision. But yeah, that was kind of a spur of the moment move yesterday. Bought the paint and started painting the old paint sprayer real quick. But let's see. Gonna check on a couple things here, see what the current straddle price is. We'll go over the kind of morning action, why I took a short initially. We'll go over all the fun stuff. But right now we're sitting at about a 12-point straddle, which you guys can see. We are pricing in as such. We are kind of range bound here, which is kind of my call in the Discord as well. We have a floor we can pin to. We have an upper bound we can pin to. We've got a lot working against us to go meaningfully higher. And yeah, so let's get into it. I want to make sure I say what's up to Peter. Good question. Summer volume play. It's less volume and more volatility or the lack thereof. So we've talked about this before. For any of you guys who are new here, it's essentially what you would consider positive gamma. This is what happens. Volatility comes down. Market makers are overwhelmingly long across the entirety of the surface, which means, generally speaking, a lot of mean reverting behavior, a lot of stalled out moves, a lot of just grindy chop, very, very slow. And I think that's what we're seeing is just kind of this, like even the move up, right? Up and then down and then up and then down, but not as far up the next time. And then this. grindy chop. I mean, these are 5-minute candles. If we went to like a 15-minute chart, it looks more like a straight up trend, but the size of the up move, once we kind of cleared this initial resistance, has pretty much stopped where we would have expected it to, coming in based on the pre-market position. And what we're going to do is two things. We are either going to do this, or we are probably going to do a bit of this. Okay. So as time goes on, you're either going to kind of grind and chop up against this resistance. Maybe you get a little pop. Maybe you get a little bit of this, but you're probably going to come back and finish under it. And it's going to be really hard to go too much lower. But this whole box that we are in, where the straddle is currently pricing us, is kind of, unfortunately, our fate right now. I just have no faith that we actually break out. I think the odds are against that. I think the best move came already, and anybody looking for some kind of sexy trade is going to be probably getting chopped to death. So I think today was definitely a potential day for this move. If you kind of longed the holds of the opening print, you were successful. If you shorted the kind of initial rejection here like I did, you got a really nice scalp. I also warned any of you in the Discord, that was scalpy. Don't hold your runners forever. This is like get in, get out for those kind of scalp trades from the range. If you held for the longer trend move, good on you. You know, I was a little less convinced that this was going to sustain. I thought we could get kind of this grind chop higher, but I have no interest in looking for an entry for higher now, knowing what we know about the structure, right? And I think you're just going to get a lesson in why certain days behave the way that they do. If you're new here, maybe that's less evident to you, right? But I think if you have been around for a minute, you already know what I'm saying, right? You guys know the whole positive gamma situation. Things get slow, things get choppy and tight and mean reverting. So I don't have a lot of expectation for higher. Maybe on a drift, right? Which is kind of that move we were just talking about, where you get a little bit of this. Like you kind of work up against the high of the day and then maybe squirt up there a little bit. But do you really want to sit in that trade, or would you rather just kind of fuck off for the day and say I'm done? Right? That's where I am right now. There is no sexy trade for me from here. What's my favorite trading books? That implies that I've read one. Sorry, Christoph, I don't have anything for you there. I don't have anything for you. I know other people, like I know Christian's got a bunch of books he's read. I'm a little bit different in the sense that I am confident in my functional general braininess that once I identify something and become familiar with it, it is ingrained and I'm either leveraging it or I'm not. So I pick up on things quickly and concepts, but having to reaffirm that with a book, particular to trading anyway, is just not something that I do. I think the same things with psychology. Like if you can't bear those lessons out quickly and efficiently, and you need to like hammer it home with a book, then go pursue that path, right? But I think the concepts that a lot of these things discuss are easily available to you in other places, whether that's online, in some kind of a existing reference on a video, whatever. That's kind of, I just tend to absorb things that way, which is how I came to this, right? This was not some like I did a deep dive and read every book about options, dynamics, and Greeks. It was just something that I watched enough on and read enough on in other sources. So I'm not going to poo-poo it for anybody. If you're someone who needs to like take the long, slow approach of absorbing it through a textbook, then by all means do that thing. Let's see. What's up, CJ? Trading in the zone. Yeah, I've heard many people reference that. And I'm not going to lie to you. Like, what I've done is I've, like a lot of Discords that I was in early had, that was a selling point, right? They'd be like, oh, here's all of our material. And they were all regurgitating the same PDFs of the same documents and books. So, like, yeah, trading in the zone, all the Douglas stuff, like, you can get the kind of crux of a lot of those arguments through like a video series, right? Like I've just been able to distill a lot of things down into something that makes sense to me without having to like spend all the hours reading the whole thing. But I'll read other books, things that I'm more interested in. But trading as a concept to me is simpler to digest than having to go through the whole book. Anyway, I want to get to this question here. Decided at a point to just straight up avoid positive gamma days as I had trouble finding proper zones. Is that a good decision or one to keep working on figuring out? The thing I would say about that, Vish, is that when you come into the market and you know like the overall regime, right? You're looking at the combination of volatility and then the overall regime. And most markets, especially uptrending ones, are primarily positive gamma regimes. The difference is most people don't know where it is likely to slow down or stop. Where does the volatility to like increase the range run out of steam? So if you don't kind of know where that point is, then you're guessing, right? You're the person who's buying a call option that's never going to get in the money. Okay, you're the person who bought this. You bought the 75.65 call on SPX today. And the less time we have until the clock runs out, right? Where's our handy dandy vertical line for 3 p.m.? You've got X amount of 15-minute bars between here and 3 o'clock. If we're not up there, you're losing money. So all those people that bought those calls are just going to sit there and hate themselves. Most people who had the edge of where the positioning was and where things were likely to slow down, they probably sold those people those calls, right? They probably said, what dumbass thinks we're going up there today? So if you have that positive gamma information, you can kind of make a smarter play, right? You could take a fly and say, hey, we might get there. It might just take a long time. So I'm going to play a strategy that allows me to benefit from that. Or I'm going to take a long from down here. And if we get to here, I'm happy. Anything beyond that's a bonus and it's a runner I'm holding. You just have to change your mindset around that regime and what it means. It doesn't mean we can't go somewhere. It means we are just less likely to extend beyond a certain point. And if we do, there are certain things that are going to happen, right? And it is less likely to happen quickly. It is going to be a grindy chop fest, right? So if you know that going in, you've got an edge that most people don't, right? Same thing for me. If we're going to look back to kind of the pre-market, okay, our positions coming in, we'll go look at ES because I think I still have my little things drawn on there. Yeah. So here was ES for me in the morning. Okay. Here were the ranges. Why was I shorting? Why did I not expect much out of the short? But why did I also make the mention that there's technically more available volatility to downside than there is to the upside? So this morning, why was I shorting? Okay. To me, this was a more attractive trade initially because I knew you had to prove to get up and over it. Overnight high. Okay. Overnight low. Maybe we get an extension down to here. But the odds for that were low because if you guys can notice this, these purple bars here, that was the overnight straddle. Coming in on the day, that was like your total expected move, okay? So I wasn't really looking for much more than that. And the only thing that could accelerate us was the thin positioning down here. Maybe you get some volatility if you even sniff 75.30. Best case scenario. All I was really playing for was a test of the overnight low. So got a nice scalp here, got a second one, left the runner to break even, got stopped, and then I just sat there and said, I don't really want to see if this goes any higher because it'll probably go very slowly, right? Obviously, we did kind of chop around this spot. We kept coming back to it and held it, and now we're grinding against the top of this range. We've effectively gone nowhere for a couple hours, right? So I made a decision. I said, I'm going to take the range play. I'm going to scalp the edge of the range. So if I'm long, I'll let things develop, but I don't know that you really go any higher than here, so I don't care to catch that long, right? What happens post-London? I put on a butterfly thinking maybe we settled back down at this key strike instead of drifting any higher. Now, we obviously have the intraday positioning that tells us a little bit of a different story post-London, right? But the ranges are still mostly the same. Except now we've got all these shapes that are just kind of more baked in. You've got a lot of support just on the passage of time, but you've also got all this resistance, right? I know you guys get horny for the arrows, so here they are. But overall, this whole picture is saying you're not going any lower. If you go lower, you're going to get stuck right in here. But if you go higher, you've got to really prove it. Okay? Can we get magnetized up here? Absolutely. But we've got to grind through this first. And right now, there's just not enough. So until I see something that says you've got enough market flow to get through all that, it's going to be that grindy chop fest, guys. Jordan says, wick to 75.20 paired with current volume on the day made me think it was one of those balances, so I tested along there. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing on the day was you're not going any higher unless you hold this spot. Right? So that's why I said, prove me right. Or prove me wrong, sorry. I'm going to short you until you show that you've got some juice to get up and over there. And obviously, once we got into London close, right, we flirted and danced around it a little bit, but we just kept holding it. So now we're just going to do this thing. Can we get through here? Sure. But it's going to take more. It is going to take a lot more. Because you've got the combination of time and what we know about market makers' position there. It is heavy, heavy. If you guys want to know the hard number, the hedge product to trade, as they say, why we're probably going to get magnetized to that is if you can't get over 75.40 on SPX, which is this kind of 93 spot, right? That's the equivalent from now until close of at least no less than 650 minute minis of ES being sold against you every 5 minutes. 700 minis for sale. Okay. So unless you have enough active flow in the most dead period of the day when most of the market is gone, including London and Asia and other participants, right? Until you get to that last like 90 minutes where maybe some things start waking up at the end of the New York session, someone wants to make a decision, you are stuck where you're stuck. I think the benefit of this afternoon stream from my perspective and what I can tell you guys and show you definitively is that kind of behavioral expectation is like you know exactly what has to happen to kind of prove that thesis wrong, to force the market makers to do something different. But reactively, they are mechanically going to be doing one thing that you can prove as we go up. There is going to need to be some really strong buying to overcome all of these passive selling. And how do you get chop? Not enough active to overcome the passive, right? So hopefully that makes sense. Yes, Vish, that is exactly what I said in the Discord this morning. I personally was playing the edge because I just didn't have a lot of conviction that if we pop over this, we're going to meaningfully go somewhere. Could we? Sure, but that's also where it's like leave your runner or put on a butterfly trade on options, right? But unless you want to sit and actively manage a trade where you're probably going to just get stuck in this kind of a range, 10 points for the whole afternoon, and maybe give a little bit back if we do come back towards 75 or 70, you know, you're either long from the best long or you're sitting here getting nervous going, oh my God, all this for 10 points. You know, I'm sure if I go look at NQ is probably a slightly different story today. Not a whole lot different, but NQ is probably going to be a little bit stronger just from a seasonal perspective, right? but I think we've kind of covered this ad nauseum already. This is going to be one of those days. So if you guys have questions, today's the day to ask them, I would think. I'm just sitting here personally waiting for World Cup time. Ripster, what's up? That can't be the Ripster from Twitter fame, can it? Rafi, not today. Jake was very adamant that chat really screwed the pooch with their bet. They went Mexico. Mexico lost. They lost the giveaway privileges for the day, for the whole day. Not just me, everybody. So, what is the chart to the left showing the levels? Said Vindriz. That is market maker positioning. If market makers are long, they are selling against you as you go higher. They are buying below you as you go lower. If market makers are short positions, these red bars, they are going with the momentum. Okay? And that is the simplest way I can tell you how market makers and all their billions of dollars they're trading are doing things. This may be the dumbest question ever. In VS3D, strikes look bigger or smaller depending on how zoomed we are. How do you get your bars right? Just depends on the range you're looking at. If you've got a bar that's 15,000 contracts and then everything else is 3,000 or less, you have to cut that 15,000 out of the picture so you can actually see what you need to see. JT mentioned the passive selling, but then you said every 5 minutes. What was the 5 minutes part about? It's essentially just the time angle. The hedge product to trade is on 5 minute intervals is technically what that hedge product to trade is saying from a passive sense. Every 5 minutes from now, if you look at that kind of gamma gradient, that is how that is gamed out mathematically. The platform that I use to get these numbers that I put into TradingView Vin is called VS3D. When you said OPEX is like 2 days in one, is it because most participants roll options forward? Yeah, when you look at like the entirety of the options landscape, zero date is important for an individual day because it expires that day. The influence is oversized, okay? Because it's like everything's distilled down into this little 6 hour window, right? Or whatever. Yeah, 6 hours. But if you look at OPEX, what you're looking at is most institutions and big players, while they are trading zero date, they are doing their bigger hedges on that like monthly, quarterly expiration. So as those options, the AM contracts, expire or get closer to expiration, the kind of structure of the market can shift as they either roll up or down. Are they going to start hedging against way more upside, 200 points up, because they think we're in this big uptrend? Or is there a strategy where they're going to play some put spreads into the next month and then a calendar spread into the future months beyond the next month OPEX? That's kind of how that works. But yeah, as far as 2 in 1 is the sense of when you have an OPEX expiration during 1 week, if you have 5 trading days, but you've got a whole other bunch of contracts expiring on Friday morning, you're kind of squeezing 1 extra day into Friday morning. So the influence of how we are sitting with regards to price relative to those contracts that are expiring that morning, it can really kind of change how the week is going to go. So that's what that 2 in 1 means. What's up, Gordito? Now that we are reaching that area on ES, shouldn't we grind higher? It is that idea of like magnetism. So what Gordito's talking about, guys, is when you kind of get this positive gamma drift or this charm drift, when we draw those arrows in the shape of like, hey, if we're not in these contracts down below, they're decaying us up, right? If you're not below something, you're over it, which means you're probably going to drift to the next thing. But when we look at the shape, the idea here is that if market makers are selling futures as we kind of grind here, and these market makers are all buying futures because we're over this spot, right? The magnetism comes and the drift higher comes from all of the futures market makers are selling. Because this range is getting smaller and smaller, and we're just kind of hovering right under this, as the day goes on and we're very close to those strikes, all the futures they've been selling all day long, they are now buying back. So that can kind of be like that push. We're going to push you away, and then we're going to pull you closer because there's not as much of a range for you to fall because of all this support. So that's how you get pinned, right? So this range, this kind of straddle range of like 12 points or whatever, as that gets smaller, that means that the influence is less about all of this stuff and just about what we are close to. So hopefully that makes sense. What is my wall sign going to be? I think it just says Gamma Jamma. It's super corny, but it was like I have to have something, so that's what I went with. Jordan, when you say market makers are selling against and buying below, is that the active portion of buying and selling that causes movement, or the passive? That is passive, because market makers react. Their reaction and the size of their positions and the influence on futures is where that passive activity comes from. And if the active participants in the market, that active flow, isn't strong enough to force a different reaction from them, that's where you get kind of this charm drift that we're seeing today of more influence. No, JT, that's basically what it comes down to, is like where you are in that moment. It's kind of like if you know how passively they are going to be positioned relative to where we are right now, you can look at the map of charm and just kind of, or gamma, and say, okay, this is how many futures they're buying or selling depending on where we are passively. What chance do I think the U.S. has against Belgium? I think they have a better chance against this Belgium team than they did the last World Cup. In my opinion, Belgium is old. This is their golden generation on the way out. Kevin De Bruyne can't stay healthy. He's not as influential. Lukaku still has an awful touch, but can put one away on occasion. I think Jeremy Doku is probably their best player overall, aside from my boy Leo Trossard, who, RIP to his Arsenal career, seems to be moving to Turkey. So he's got a big divorce to pay for, so I'm sure that influenced that decision. But Leo Trossard is like one of the most underrated players in international football. The guy is just unbelievable. He can play as a false nine, second striker, inverted winger. He works hard defensively. He's got a great eye for goal, two-footed. Kind of reminds me of Santi Cazorla, if you know who that is. Super underrated, but I am very much thinking USA has a chance. I think USA has a lot of athleticism. I think USA can be got if they overcommit. And I think if it were me, I think it'll be a very tight game. I think this would be another one of those matches where if you don't put it away early, it's going to be one of those things where it goes to extra time because somebody got a plucky equalizer kind of situation. But I think the U.S. can kind of run away with it if they are clinical with their finishing. If they're not clinical with their finishing, they can be got. So that's my opinion. How much of a range do you look at once? Because I see a sizable one, then I zoom out and it's barely there. Seems insignificant at that point. At Vish, you're going to have to give me a little more. I think the way I would put this, Vish, is like if you come in on the day and you only look at the opening range straddle price. If you look at 30 points and you say based on the opening print, so let's do this. We'll get rid of extended hours and we'll say based on the opening print, we are pretty much testing the top of the expected move range and we never flirted with the bottom. And now I've got this current straddle price of about 11 or 12 points, maybe 10, right? Do I think we're going to meaningfully move through this, or do I start looking at the totality of everything above me and say, should I expect more? In VS3D, I don't know, man. Again, I would just look at the straddle price and just use that as your current range. And it should kind of give you a pretty good gauge. The whole of Europe's cheering on Belgium. We don't respect cheaters. I mean, listen, you want to talk about cheaters? I would say that FIFA as a whole is a corrupt organization, and if you're going to choose this as your hill to die on, you don't really have any ground to stand on. There have been far more egregious things going on with FIFA, especially as it relates to calls and non-calls, the leveraging of VAR, and overstepping what it was designed to be used for and when it was to be used and applied. Do I think it was the right decision to do this? No, because it's very obvious that now you are opening yourself up to corruption charges, right? You can say, oh, people overstepped and Trump is wielding his influence. Infantino is probably more corrupt than Sepp Blatter. It just hasn't come out yet. But when it does, no one will be surprised. And I think the cheating allegations would go far beyond reinstating a player who never should have been sent off for a red card, when there are no less than 5 examples of the exact same foul not even getting a card, much less a foul called, in real time or without a replay. Just me. Honestly, that ref yesterday in that Mexico-England game was fucking atrocious. Atrocious. Mexico could have been carded for dissent like 10 times. And nothing happened. So, like, I have zero sympathy for anything on this USA situation. I personally would have played Haji right if Flo was not available. But as a lifelong gooner, Flo Balogun being a former academy kid, I'm not going to be mad that he's playing. I don't care. Yeah, that ref last night was awful. I mean, say what you want about the Harry Kane penalty call, which I think is insane that they actually gave that as a penalty to Mexico. But there were so many instances in that game where there was like rotational fouling that wasn't being applied correctly. If you don't get the cards out for that early, some of the cards that he did give out just like made even less sense. So yeah, I thought the ref last night was god awful. Yeah, France versus Paraguay was like, you want to talk about like corruption and cheating. That is one of those things where like you've got a ref who clearly is something's going on there to not make those calls. I'm just a little, I have thoughts. Yeah, some of those refs shouldn't even be in the tournament. Honestly, Michael Oliver had one of the worst refereeing performances and did not cover himself in glory. And if you're a Premier League fan, you know how bad the refereeing is in the Premier League, despite being the most financially secure and profitable league in the world. How you continue to have such god-awful referees where 3/4 of them are from the city of Manchester, and Michael Oliver gets like flown to Saudi Arabia and Qatar on an international break and gets paid to referee for those leagues, and then comes back to the Premier League and referees a Man City game versus Liverpool. And you're like, oh, is there favouritism going on? Did he get paid off a little bit? I don't know. I've got a lot of thoughts. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to apologize, but I'm a footy man. When you take screenshots to use the indicator, what kind of a range do I take? Obviously, I give myself a wide berth. I just want to know what the overall structure is. So if we do happen to get like an explosive trend out of what I thought we would move into, I don't want to be caught with my pants down when I'm looking at my chart, Vish. I want to have more of a range. So I will go beyond. Basically what I do is I do like 1.5 to 2 times the current straddle price either direction. I tend to go a little bit further down on the downside when I take the picture of the range, because if there's volatility, for example, more often than not, it would expand down on a sell if it was explosive, as opposed to up, where things tend to slow down when you're in a positive gamma regime. So, yeah. Who gets awarded the World Cup is, I mean, come on. I don't want to rehash that, but between Qatar and Russia, there's just things about FIFA that are just so comical. Anyway. No problem, Vish. Anyway, any other questions, guys? Let's have at 'em. I will say one thing that was kind of interesting if you're looking at the book map perspective from the morning, if we can kind of get, where's 8:30? So right about here is where the market opened, right? We kind of had our initial sell and then our bid. When you look at things from like a liquidity perspective and book map, like where is the action sitting, and where have things been sitting all day, you can kind of see like where this initial liquidity was at kind of the top of our range here, right? And how you didn't really have anything until a little bit higher. But what we know is when you look at Bookmap and then you look at the actual market maker positioning, you have a little bit more of an edge than just saying, oh, there's liquidity up here, so we're going to go there. You know that there's behavioral and mechanical things standing in the way of that, right? So when you look at the downside, yes, this has been here all day. This has been here all day. Those people aren't getting rewarded. And the same thing that we know is limiting us to the upside is limiting that downside as well. Because you have all of this as passive, right? So anyone that's actually sitting there and anything down near 75, 60, 62 is kind of sitting expecting this kind of reversion back down. But the longer we held over this 75, 70 area, which you can also see on Bookmap has some liquidity resting there, right? There's less likelihood of us going down to that because you would have to lose this. Maybe that gets tested, but that's also kind of like when you see a trend and then you see this kind of resting liquidity on Bookmap, that kind of represents what we know is sitting there passively anyway, right? It's support to the up move continuing. If you didn't see that and you saw only a bunch of liquidity building like much lower, sorry, this is like, I'm still getting used to how Bookmap scrolls on time. Then it's a different story. But this is kind of telling you there's somebody kind of protecting the pullback. There's enough people setting resting like buy orders there, let's say, to support this move continuing to go higher. But now, again, can we move higher? Do we see people participating in this range? Yes. But unless there's enough active bidding to kind of overtake that, this Bookmap information isn't any more helpful than what we already know is sitting here. We know we've got people who are positioned up here. It's just, do we have enough to actually give it the oomph to go? Praga, is there a free website to see if the day is positive or negative? It's called your broker. I guarantee if you just look at things from the naive gamma standpoint and you went to your broker and you said, I'm going to connect Claude to this. I'm going to take a screenshot of the options chain or whatever, right? You could literally say, what is the gamma regime or whatever? And it would be able to run that and say, without knowing how market makers are individually positioned at these strikes, are we positive or negative and where, right? I actually did this for someone to say, if you don't want to commit to paying for a different service, let's see if I can add this. All right, now we're getting some bids. So we are seeing the active flow overtake the passive flow. But does it run out of steam? Does it have enough juice in the tank to get through what we know is sitting above us? Or does it reject and stall? We will see. But what I wanted to tell you, Praga, before I get to a really kind of interesting question from Dove K, is I would always say real time and is more beneficial than anything else. To that question, Miggy. But I am familiar with the report, yes. I kind of don't want to look away because we are getting this strong push up into this kind of what should be a strong resistance. So what we're seeing here again is, if you guys are new to Bookmap like I am, these green blobs and red blobs are essentially representations of like how much volume buying versus selling is happening at certain places, and these colored bars are kind of the resting orders where liquidity actually sits, right? But where my edge comes is less from this over here. This is kind of like a confirming thing. Is price getting absorbed? Is it getting rejected and exhausted? Is it, is volatility expanding or contrasting with market bids versus resting orders getting overwhelmed and whatnot? Is if I know what is sitting there already versus how some of this stuff can be gamed, right? It's like spoofing orders. You can put a bunch of limit orders here and then pull them, and then all of a sudden there's no liquidity, right? There's nothing in this whole range here between 95 and 75. All of the little orders that were there are gone. There's just effectively nothing below us until 75. So all of the speculation and orders are, you know, trying to drive this higher because, oh, look, there's orders sitting there. I tend to lean more on this, what I know, which is the market maker positions, which don't generally flip-flop too much, especially the ones that have been held all day long. But the one thing I did say earlier in the Discord is if we're going to go somewhere and we get over this, what is our next range going to be? This little gap here, right? Up towards like 76.10 to 15. This kind of 76.50 to 60 area on SPX. But if we're going to grind in this, it's very likely what happens is if you run out of steam, right? You don't get continued big bid orders and you get some selling, you're just going to be right back in the range we're in, or grinding sideways right into these couple 10-point strikes. But I do want to get to the thing about naive GEX, so just let me see if I can pull this up here. I think I have to add something so you guys can see it. I don't know if this is going to work because it's like a locally hosted thing, so just bear with me here. Is this showing for you guys? Let's do this. Holy shit, guys. I feel like a newbie today. So if you look at this, this is like a little goofy kind of like custom dashboard thing. So when you see something like this where it's like gamma flip above 76.85 and blah, 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 right? This is basically using the naive kind of approach of from this spot, everything is dealer long. From this strike, everything is dealer short. That's all that is. And it's pulled directly from your broker's like option chain, right? So that is where you get this idea of, well, from this strike, everything is high. From this strike, everything is negative. That is what you can do if you don't want to pay for like the specific market maker positions being long or short, and just say generally from this strike, things are going to slow down, or this is where things maybe would accelerate if we got some downside pressure. That is the naive version of GEX. I just find that to be less actionable than knowing exactly where the positions are, you know, and things of that nature. Let's see here. Do you have stop and limit orders at certain strong strikes, believing if it breaks it's going to the next one, or do you wait and see how it tests? Depends on my conviction and when. So like this morning, I had a limit order set here at 75.72 on ES, and then I had a stop. I gave it 10 points, thinking if I'm wrong, I'll be wrong really quickly if this isn't a strong resistance. And it was a strong resistance, and I ended up getting a 20-point trim. Right? And then I left my runner at break even on the second entry, which was right here. And then I got 10 points and I went break even. But it depends on the time of day. Like today, I'm going to like watch this. So even like post London close, I was watching how are we testing and holding the 75-70-ish area. And I was just kind of like, you know, we're not like breaking up to the top of this range quickly. It's kind of more of like a chop. I'm just not interested. So I didn't take the trade. Trump did say the market was going to go up. Yeah. I mean, in a positive gamma dominated regime, it means that market makers are long. So like there is speculation higher. It's just like how high, right? And like how long? Are you going to get the big explosive move, or is it going to take longer to get that grindy chop drift up? And so far, I think you would say this has been kind of a steady, slow move up, but we haven't like exploded higher, right? And why is that? And that is, in my opinion, because of what we know to be true, what we can prove is true. Nothing has really fundamentally changed across the entirety of the 0 date and beyond SPX options contracts. It is predominantly dealer long the higher we go, which means harder to move through because market makers are reactively selling billions of dollars of contracts, right? It's just kind of a mechanical thing. When volume's pumping, we barely get any tests. I guess, Vish, I guess I'm not sure what you mean. Is there a way to backtest supply and demand trading? I don't know how you do that unless you had the metrics already listed for like what your supply and demand levels were, right? To be able to say on this date, it was here and here. Like that's the benefit that I have of using this is I've done extensive back testing because I catalog every day my defined tests and balances, my defined resistance and support, those ranges that I draw out in the morning and I show you guys from the pre-market positioning. When I come in here and I say, oh, this is my range, right? So this morning, I think I even did this last week, going into the kind of like dead trading day. These were my ranges. So what I look for when I do my back testing is how often was something behaviorally supported? Did it move? Did it hold? What was the expectancy of total drawdown from this strike until this strike? How long did it take? Like all of those things I can measure out. And that's how I do my back testing. But that's different than somebody leveraging a different strategy, right? But you have to have those kind of defined variables to be able to back test that effectively. Is it true in long gamma condition levels are more likely to be respected? You have to be able to define respected though. If you're thinking like every time it's touched, it's going to sell and reject 5 points, you can't look at it that way. The way that I look at it, and I think without being a former market maker and without having like complete and total domain knowledge, is that I look at it less as like an individual strike situation and kind of more in the sense of like a band, right? So it's that's why I look at the shape so much, and why like looking at the pre-market shape when I took this screenshot, which is likely shifted slightly, right? Is that now these ranges are still mostly intact, right? We are still effectively in here. We're not below it. We're not above it. We are basically in this range. I look at this as like a band. So I would remove these drawings and I would say it's more like this. As you approach an area, it's not only when you get to the firm strike of 75.40 SPX, are market makers only then doing something. They're reacting to their delta. So as spot price approaches their strikes, the delta's changing. So you could even say it's something like this. Are we behaving as we move closer to this group of strikes? Where are these wicks? They're not only in the middle of this bar. They have been respecting this kind of action as they approach it. So I look at it as like a band, like a range, as opposed to an individual strike. So when I look at the shape, wouldn't it be harder to climb a mountain if it was steadily getting higher? And wouldn't it go a little faster if once you crested the mountain peak, there was less standing in your way to go lower? So when I say, let's say you didn't have these bars as a color. You had no association of green means slow, red means go, right? Isn't it harder to climb a mountain when every peak gets bigger and bigger and bigger? Isn't it going to take you longer, right? If I got to the top of this and I could suddenly run downhill, I'm going to go a lot faster in a hurry than I am trudging higher and higher. If you tell me I crest this mountain peak right here, and I'm like pushing I'm pushing a freaking boulder up the mountain, right? I start right here and I'm pushing this boulder up the mountain. I pick up a little speed here, but then I hit this mountain and what happens? Holy shit, this boulder's getting really heavy. Oh, I crested this mountain peak. Now I got this one. Oh, this boulder's getting a lot heavier. What happens when I fall down? Or the boulder can't quite make it here. Where's it going to want to go? Back down. I know you guys have probably heard the path of least resistance, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Specifically 10 tasty. As far as like things being respected, right? Have my babies. I mean, if you really want, I don't know. I am getting older, so I don't know if the old count is as strong as it used to be, but I have faith. Just curious, what were some of the pitfalls you had to overcome when I first started trading? Guys, I was a signal chaser. I didn't know shit. I just wanted to make money. I didn't care how I made it. I didn't care if someone was right or wrong. I didn't care, you know, what the win rate of the person was. I was just like, oh, that's going to make me a couple $100 or $1,000. Great. I'm going to lump in. But the thing that I overcame was that, and understanding that if I'm going to use something and consistently leverage it, it's going to have to be like a skill. I'm going to have to be proficient. I'm going to have to be self-reliant. And that's why I took the mastermind course from Jake, was to get to that point where I could use this and it is a skill of mine. I can be completely self-sufficient. I don't need anybody else. And that once I learned that that was what I was going to have to do, then it became something where it was like, oh, well, I like learning things and I like understanding the why behind something, right? And that's kind of why I went this direction. Does this market maker positioning include ES contracts I hold as active hedge or options? So the whole idea, Daniel, is that it is the options. And based on the number of options and what we know about the dynamics of hedging between Delta, Gamma, Charm, Vanna, Vega, right? That whole idea is knowing that there's a commensurate amount of ES contracts that they would hedge with. And because you can get that dollar value to say, well, this is approximately how many ES contracts as we approach this area or strike or strikes, that is where you get that kind of market influence to the tune of billions of dollars, right? And why other strikes are less influential. Like right now, let's say we got some huge volatility. Someone said Trump's being investigated by the DOJ for, you know, his Epstein ties. This range right here, that is an accelerant. It's thin, it's small, but we also know that market maker here, here. Every strike that we move into with selling pressure, they're going to have to sell. The only reason we're being supported right now is because price is up here and not down here. If price were in here and you got some big selling, market makers are going to sell too. But if we got here and we bounced, market makers are going to buy the whole way back up until they're not. Okay? So if you know how much of something they are buying or selling and how much they have to buy or sell when they do it, you have an edge. Other people draw a box and say, oh, because it's here, this is this. There are things about these other trading systems, right, that aren't that far off the mark. But if you want to know the why behind the what, that's where this is more beneficial, because this is something provable, right? This is something that has to happen. They mechanically have to do something. I know you have ES pulled up at the moment. Can you peek at NQ at the same indicator? This indicator will not show anything on NQ. The benefit of this is basically saying that, like, if NDX and SPX as indexes, right, that represent NQ and ES futures, if those indexes are so closely aligned because X% of the NDX basket is represented in SPX already, when SPX or ES gets hedged, more often than not, that influence will show up over there. So it's not as direct, right? But generally speaking, if you look at where we bounced and where we've held with regards to ES versus NQ, it is mostly the same. NQ is going to be a little more volatile, just by virtue of what it is and what's held in it. But overall, if ES is healthy and strong and it's holding and blah, blah, like NQ can't sell off without ES also having to sell off. So when you talk about like SMT divergences and stuff, you just have to know like what is the weighting from one index to the other. And why do those things correlate more often than they diverge? S&P, right? The S&P 500 inherently has more in it. It has more weight. It is the market effectively. NQ can influence it because of the shared weighting between those two things, but the S&P is the market effectively. Which assets do I trade? Options and futures? Both. Home Depot. Do you still recommend Jake's course or a different way to learn? I will always recommend the Mastermind. It wasn't until I took the Mastermind that I felt as comfortable as I do being able to look at price action and then be able to take something like this on, right? It all depends on like what resonates with you. Bar by bar is essentially just saying the same thing as like auction theory. In this 5-minute auction, there were more buyers than sellers. Here's where the sellers exhausted. Here's where the buyers exhausted, right? Like you can look at it that way. But bar by bar tells a story in that time frame. And then also understanding that every time frame is related. So you can't have a pullback in one time frame without having a downtrend in another, for example. So understanding that relationship was kind of like step one for me and saying, oh, this is all connected and this is how all these things work and why you swing traders are successful because they're leveraging this kind of information and behavior on this time frame and extrapolating it to this one. But where I went with this is the idea that I don't want to care about that anymore. I approach each day as its own thing. It doesn't have to be related to a trend for me at all. I can literally just say the market makers are holding options. Those options are reflective of bets by the market, and market makers are contractually essentially obligated based on how many positions they hold at different places to behave a certain way. And if I have that edge, I don't really care about the overall trend. I'm basing a trade off of this kind of information. And being able to only have to trade SPX or just ES or both was liberating to me instead of having to have this huge watch list that I literally don't look at. Like I could give two shits about what Rocket Lab or Google or Apple or anything's doing today. I get to sit down at my desk and I look at this and I say, that's where I'm going to put my risk on or not. So I still advocate for the Mastermind, especially if you're a newer trader and you've had a very hard time finding a successful system. I think understanding price action the way that Jake teaches it with the Mastermind is hugely beneficial. So I will always advocate for that. For the money, I don't know that you can literally get a better bang for the buck. I ponied up for it. I was in the very last one. If you want to join the Discord and get access to the Mastermind, there's a link in the chat here right now. I cannot advocate for it enough. I think whether you're an existing trader who's struggling with the system or a brand new one, I think if you take that and you really see what's available to you and think about the fact it only costs you $100 to get it, that is crazy value. I would recommend it 10 out of 10 times. Yeah, Aaron, I mean, really, if you look at like where my journey changed, it wasn't until I joined Rake's Discord and had access to all the trade reviews and I kind of figured out Mastermind on my own just from those, right? If you know what to look for, it's becomes evident very quickly kind of what the backbone of the system is. But now that you've got the availability of the program without having to wait for a Mastermind course, it's just available to you. It is hugely beneficial, I think. Yeah, Andrew, I think we're all former Mastermind students, so it's really hard to say that that through line is not important, right? It's like foundational. You can't build a house without a foundation, whether it's got a basement or not, right? You have to have a foundation. Mastermind is the foundation that all of us started from. So it's like $100 a month if you use code STREAM at that link. So if you want to try to like just dive in and get as much of the program as you can, that is a crazy deal compared to like courses other people sell. So it's as much as you do with it in the time you're there, right? But I would say if you're a newer trader, don't think you're just going to get it after 2 days because you've watched all the videos. Like you have to put it into practice. You have to have this chart time. You have to make sure that you're like actually getting what is being taught to you in that course. But the benefit is it's like on your own time at your own pace. It's not going to go away because the course is over in a week. You have access to it as long as you're a member there. So yeah. And I would say I'm kind of considering, just with time, available time for me and scheduling, doing more of like a course approach, just like for people on like a weekly basis or something, instead of the like one-on-one individual time, because some people just can't afford that. And I only have so much time, so I want to be able to like get to more people. So I am kind of considering that. I don't know that I'm really there yet. I think I like the approach of working with someone individually and like giving them all of my time for that time and really honing in on what it is they want to work on, whether it's psychology or like understanding the dealer dynamic side of things. But I know that a lot of people just want to be able to say like, I want to learn what you do and the YouTubes are great, but I want like to get to it at my own time. And I'm not there yet. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know that that's the best way to teach it, because everybody comes to it a little differently. So we'll see where that goes. But for now, I'm just going to keep my stuff more on a one-on-one basis and work with people that way. Home Depot, it's across everything. If it has a chart, it applies, is essentially what I would say to that question. Anyway, guys, like Jake said, no giveaways today for any of the hosts. That is your penance for your inability to correctly pick the winner of last night's game. I think Jake was looking for some redemption for you guys. So if you pick the USA-Belgium winner, I think it was, or maybe it was Spain. I'd have to look at his socials and see what he's got out there. But that is whether or not you guys get giveaways tomorrow. So good luck to you if you're going to do anything there. But yeah, as far as what I'm looking at, again, I think it's very straightforward. If you guys want my kind of plan for the day, I think you're either going to do more of this or potentially that. It is really that simple. I don't have a lot of faith that we're going anywhere except kind of sideways. I don't know that we're effectively going to do much else. I think we're kind of being pointed right to where we are. I think for all you guys who are joining late, number one, thanks for joining. I'm kind of working on something that I think will be fun around the idea of all of these different trading systems having a name for something and what it actually correlates to with regards to with regards to like the behavior that I look for and kind of like the provable thing under the surface and what somebody like might market as something else, whether that's ICT or otherwise. I think people get caught up in like the fad of what something's called, even like order flow, right? So I think trying to coalesce all of those things and to say like, oh, you can all have your names, but like here's really what's happening under the surface from a data-driven approach. That's something I want to put in front of people. So regardless of who you're watching on our streams, the fact that it's all valid, right? The undercurrent is true. But you don't have to get caught up in a concept to understand like the general thing that's happening in the market under the surface. And I think that's a healthy way to look at things. So that way, no matter who you're watching, you kind of have a through line between all of us to say, oh, Lomeli trades ICT, Mitch uses Gamma, and just kind of say like, here's essentially like the crux of it. So we'll see what comes out of that. Anyway, I'm going to get going. It's Lomeli's time now. He starts here at 12:30. I rambled for an extra minute. You guys know my thoughts. I don't think we're going anywhere meaningful unless something big happens. I think we're stuck. But good luck to you the rest of the way, and hopefully the rest of the week provides the afternoons a little more opportunity than what I normally look for, which is 15 to 20 point moves. This is not my cup of tea. I don't want to get stuck in this and stare at my chart this long. So good luck to you, and hopefully you guys catch a little something with Lomeli. But if not, I will see you guys tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for joining. Take care. Bye.
What's up? What's up? Let me see. Testing. right, we all good to go, man. Let's see, let me pop up chat now. Let's see. I'm just reading chat. Someone said, I don't know who Lomeli is. What's up, brother? How's everyone doing, chat? What's up? Let's see. Luca, my guy, what's up? Yo, the Home Depot houseplant, my guy. What up, Alex? What up, K and Q? Lomeli, Miggy, what's up? What's up, Jennifer? Hey, Captain, you don't see my Instagram messages, buddy? I got you. Yeah, I've been doing bad at getting back at people, but been trying to detach, and I've been detaching a little too hard. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. No, no, I'm not taking it. That's the first comment I read. Jordan, my guy. Trilius, my guy. RJV, what's up? Adam, my guy, what's up, brother? What's up? Yo, the mud butt. He's handsome, gang. Oh shit, appreciate you. Hey, Lomeli, hope you had an awesome weekend. Yeah, I had a very good weekend, actually. Very nothing to do with trading. So I completely detached, and that's kind of what I've been working on. I guess apart from yesterday, I did some review. Any trade? Yeah, I took a trade this morning, which I posted on my Instagram. Which if you don't follow, make sure you do so. And I posted a reel and a story on I guess where I executed, but tricky morning, or not tricky morning. It was just a slower delivery morning. On the NQ, ES is still favorable, showing relative strength against ES, showing relative strength against NQ. So this is the trade I took. I should have taken it off right here, but I didn't. I held through this whole little range and then got out fully at the 7-11 candles. So that's the trade I took this morning. Easy, simple. Again, I should have taken it off here, but part of me this morning came in with the idea that we could go higher, and the overall objective for the session was and is, I guess, the 7,600, which we have relative equal highs up above us, right? So that's still the target for the session, still long biased, but we'll see. Typically Mondays, I'm not a big fan of trading Mondays. I still wake up and see what, or for the most part, right? I still wake up and try to see what price gives me. But Mondays, I tend to not be too aggressive, not try to look for a home run, I guess. Not that I do, but I try to be a little bit more conservative, right? So we took out prior day highs, and we're kind of retracing now. The 4 hour here is significantly more bearish than ES, right? Showing relative weakness against ES once again, as it has been the last week, right? So let's see. Well, I'll hop into charts here soon and start breaking down what I'm looking for essentially. Damn, where did Housewife come from? What are you talking about? Let's print money. Let's see what we get. Yo, Melly, my guy. What's up, Blink? First time here. Welcome in. Yo, man, I was waiting for you. My guy, appreciate it. Good evening, gang. Good evening, Tommy. What's up? I held through that too. Yeah, I not the best delivery from NQ. And it's been like that last week. So through my review, I noticed that ES has been significantly stronger compared to NQ throughout moves on the upside, right? And vice versa. But for the upside, we have all I played last week was really upside for my AM session. So yeah, NQ, that's one thing I kind of noted at, and which we're still kind of getting here today. Someone called Home Depot housewife. Oh shit. Come on, 9 more points on MNQ and hitting my TP for 2R. Fuck yeah, Praga. Mods ban them. Yo, amen, my guy. Letting people trickle in here before we get started. I might have to turn the AC on here because as soon as I get to yapping, it gets hot in here. So let's see. Going into the charts, right? Weekly. Well, first off, the monthly, right? Looking at both NQ and ES, NQ is red on the month, ES is green on the month, right? And we're only 6 days into the month, which is quite interesting. I still think that NQ is trying to go for that weekly or monthly gap entry at 517, 28517. But we'll see. We'll see what price I'm trading. What price is giving me, right? So far, what we've been getting is we tapped into the weekly fair value gap on ES, and we tapped into the EQ of this wick, and we are trading higher. We have again relative equal highs up above us. We traded into last week's high. Meanwhile, NQ is kind of around the opening print or the new day opening gap, new week opening gap. So yeah, NQ is significantly more bearish than ES is currently, and has been like I said the last week. So on the weekly, there's not much action other than we're delivering from a bullish gap, and we're sort of in this range, right? We're sort of in this range, and something to anticipate or expect after a big move up like this. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever. 2.5 months or whatever bullish price action. And this is, in my opinion, normal and needed to then see the next leg higher or a deeper retracement to then continue higher, right? So on the weekly, there's not much other than these relative equal highs here sitting above us, again delivering from bullish action. So technically bullish still on the weekly. The daily, we delivered from a bullish gap after inverting a bearish gap, which is where my morning bias came from. And again, you can see it more clearly here on the daily. We have relative equal highs sitting here at the 7600 level. NQ traded back lower, inverted this bullish gap. So NQ significantly lower. Again, significantly more bearish. It's hard to get a read on NQ here. We're just technically just ranging, not really going anywhere. We have the where's the monthly opens right above us. So I marked the monthly open here. The daily, so yeah, it's a little tricky read here on the daily for NQ, other than again we came back down to tap Thursday's close and traded back higher. Meanwhile, ES is just took out prior week's high and prior day's high. The 4 hour, again, we've been delivering from bullish action, bullish fair value gaps getting respected, order blocks getting respected. Similar thing here on NQ. Bullish gaps getting respected, bearish gaps getting inverted. We just got divergence here with the high. That's something to pay attention to. We did get divergence, and where exactly did we get divergence? We got it right around OTE of the range, right? We just took out Asia highs. New 4 hour candle opens in the next 20 or so minutes. We're trading below the daily open. So let's see what we get here. Let's see, how's the hourly looking here? Hourly is now displacing lower. Let's see. Hourly 15-minute. Okay, so 15 minutes trading lower. For me to be long, yeah, it's a tricky session, honestly, because we did take out prior day highs and prior week's highs. Is this prior day highs? Yeah, Thursday's highs. And it's the weekly high. My objective, like I said, was a 7,600 level on ES. NQ, ES, NQ. Okay, so we are now trading it around the new week opening gap. 4 hour gap entry, which I marked up before when we were trading up here, which is no longer a 4 hour gap. So we are at a 4 hour invert, right? We are at a By 4-hour invert, I mean a bearish gap that got inverted is now trading back in it. We are in a around the new week opening gap. We are 15-minute. We're on a 15-minute BPR, right? A bearish gap that got overlapped by a bullish gap. We are around OTE of the daily's range, so swing high to low, right? We are at 0.62 to 0.79 of the range. ES in the meantime is retracing back into a hourly fair value gap. So if price wants to continue to the upside, we should see that continuation from this 15-minute BPR / 4-hour invert / new week opening gap to trade higher, right? Now, let's see. If this gives up, in my opinion, I'm going to be hands off and wait for some sort of continuation of the downside, right? And let's see, what else? I guess I'm kind of doing the analysis and game plan here with you guys and waiting to see what we get. Ideally, an entry presents itself within the next 15 or so minutes. That way the hourly candle can close a little bit more bullish than what it's looking like. Currently looking a bit, I wouldn't say bearish, but this would look better if it closes near its opening print. 4-hour, and then the next 4-hour opened up somewhere in this range. Got a little pullback, continued. Did we tap into the 1 hour? No, we haven't. We left relative equal lows down here. So technically speaking, the hourly is 4 hours. The 4 hours, I'm just not a big fan of here, how it's looking. Let's set an alert here at the opening print. 1 hour. Ideally, I'd love to see us tap into the 1-hour gap entry on ES to then see a continuation higher. Although it's the only thing, NQ is currently in my area of interest for longs. That's buy side, or I guess you can call it a target. Let's see, 15-minute, 1 hour's bullish, 15-minute. Yeah, so at this point, I would want to see the 15-minute get a change in state in this area. If the 5-minute can get a change in state in this area and give me an entry, I would more than gladly take a long, something like this. Maybe targeting these relative equal highs, right? Is this premium? Yeah, around premium of the range. Let's set this off to the right. $15-minute. Okay, so let's see, 15-minute, 5-minute. $15-minute closed here. We're still looking. Yeah, I don't like these last two 15-minute candles. I'm gonna wait for the 5-minute to give me an entry. The hourly closes here in the next what is it? In the next 14 or so minutes. And let's see what else. Yeah, we got relative equal lows here at the 1-hour gap entry. So let's see what we get here, chat. So far, we're respecting that area of interest pretty nicely, which is nice to see. What I'm not really liking is how we left these this gap untouched. I'm going to be very patient and probably more than likely, we'll see. I was going to say more than likely wait for the 4-hour candle open. But yeah, let's see what the reaction is here. If the reaction is very bullish here, then I would, of course, participate before the 4-hour open here in the next 12 minutes. 4-hour, 15-minute. Let's see. 1 hour, 4 hour. Yeah, this is also why I think aiming for the low-hanging fruit is very important, because my entry came around somewhere around this area in the morning, right? Again, if you want to see the trade execution and the I guess recording, it's on my Instagram, somewhere around this area. I was convicted on 7,600 being the draw, and part of me thought, should I hold to the full TP and get a big R to R trade? But meantime, on NQ, we didn't really move that much, right? I took my full target here. Currently would have been close to break even, while ES is in profit, of course. But yeah, it always reminds me time and time again to aim for the low-hanging fruit every single trade. And when I kind of divert from it is when I kind of go through winning streaks or feel this sort of sense of like euphoria, like I can't lose, like I'm always right, which I'm never always right, but that's what I'm feeling. Let's see, chat. Let's see. Lomeli, Victoria. What's up, Victoria? Shit, excuse me. Was up late watching the game. Got long yes around midnight. Held overnight to 7,590. Sheesh. 7,590. Holy shit! You basically bottom and top tick this, Miggy. What do you guys think about the game yesterday, by the way? Mexico versus England? What a fucking game, right? Today, I think Portugal plays... I forgot who Portugal plays. Portugal plays... I have it up here. Spain at 12, which should be fucking... This should be a good game. And then we got Norway and England. I would have to go with Norway. Yeah, it's heating up, man. We're coming close to the semis and finals. Boom, TP'd for 85 points. Fuck yeah, Praga. Good to see you again, Chris. My guy, Sammy. Appreciate you. So we're trading higher here. We just got an alert here for the 4-hour flip. What's up? What's up? Hey, brother. Fedo, my guy. What's up, brother? Alex. What's up, Alex? Alex D. You take anything this morning, brother? I think you failed to wake up this morning, Z. What's the music? It's just called Ibiza Sunset Low Flow Chill Out Mix. That's what it's called. Nice low, yeah, short pull back to the level there, starting the week slow after going mini tilt end of last week. Yeah, slow and steady. The biggest issue that I feel like tilt trading brings is that you feel like you have to get back to where you were right away, right? And that's the complete opposite. You slowly build confidence by small compound hits, just lock in winning days. And in my opinion, that's how you regain that confidence. Yeah, soccer game was fucking crazy, right? Back-to-back goals in 2 minutes. I was like, yeah, we're fucked. I was rooting for Mexico. Had a great weekend detaching, though. Ready to size down this week and actually let trades play out. Fuck yeah, Adam. Yeah. There's nothing. Yeah, everything you're saying is right. So just follow it. Yeah, crazy game. The rest sucked, though. You think so? I thought he did a really good job on Mexico and England, right? España. Yeah, if Mexico would have scored that first header, Aaron, I think the momentum would have been nice. I mean, hindsight, right? But sorry, football. Yeah, I think Norway too. Yeah, Norway's bit. Yeah. Yeah, Holland is, bro. Yeah, JTP. I've been watching a lot of his videos on YouTube, or not a lot. I probably watched like 3, which is his overall like diet, nutrition, and how locked in he is. It's fucking nice to see. Honestly, it's very, for me at least, it's very I wouldn't even say inspiring. It's just motivating, I guess. Glad Mexico's out. Fuck, what did Mexico do to you, man? Then clicking with Mitch's gamma levels played out what he posted around 9 p.m. Fuck yeah, that's what we're all here for, right? You're bound to click with somebody, and yeah, just from there on forward is just tuning in and continue learning and watching. But fuck yeah, Jennifer. Stayed cash G, I was up. Neymar Jr. retired. Did he? Holland is wild. Raw honey, raw milk, and steak. Yeah, that's literally, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, chat. Ever since I saw that video, I've been a little bit more locked in on my diet. Your boy was sleeping on the chair. Holland is actually hilarious, but I hate him with Man City because I'm a gooner. You're an Arsenal fan, right, Mitch? The Norway team brought their own food, like tons for the month. They are here so they don't change their diet and risk food poisoning. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I mean, it sounds crazy, but in reality, like, is it really crazy? Like, to be performing at that level, you have to be locked in every single way. And yeah, I don't know. All I know is that whenever I go outside the country, I can eat whatever and I feel amazing. I don't know if it's stress reduction, but I don't know what it is, but I would argue that part of it is also food. Not that I feel like shit, right? But it's just something I pay attention to. Are you the guy who was giving away funded accounts? Well, I am part of the whole team, I guess. Yeah, so it's Jake, which is the channel you're watching on, Jake Rate Trades, and there's a handful of us underneath them, right? Which is currently you're watching me, Lomeli Trades. Right before me was Mitch. After me would be Wrong, and after Wrong would be Azing, right? And then Jake for New York Open. So yeah, it is. We all do give away funded accounts, just not today. I think chat made a bet with Jake, I think yesterday, and chat lost. So no giveaways today. It was either double the giveaways per stream or none. Shit, when you go out of the country, I usually eat whatever and feel better than I would if I ate the same meals here. Bro, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Part of me also thinks that it's like I guess I wouldn't even say stress reduction, because it's more so like I don't know. I mean, maybe a change of scenery, maybe mixture of things, but part of me just wants to say it's not really 100% just the food, but I think it is, man. You have so JTP, I have a personal account and I have funded, and on my personal account, I try to pay myself as consistently as I can, right? So if it's so I have a certain number, right? And every time I get it to, so for example purposes, right? Say it's at 7,000 and it gets to 10,000, I withdraw the 3 and then just continue the whole cycle, right? Some weeks, whenever it goes from 7 to say 8.5, I just withdraw the 1.5 and then continue, right? It just honestly, it varies, but I do yeah, I'm a big advocate on withdrawing from personal account and on firms. Just pick a way of trading them and stick with it, whether you're aggressive on one account or you copy trade on multiple accounts with less risk, or maybe you copy trade on multiple accounts with a lot of risk, and that's your approach. Whatever it is, stick with it and don't deviate. Pay yourself. Exactly. Yeah, one hard thing I learned early in my career was the money's not yours until it's in your bank. It's the harsh reality. It's not yours until it's in the bank. It feels like it's yours when you get a winning trade, but it's not. You're susceptible to losing it if it sits in your broker account. Let's see, where's price at currently? So there's 2 minutes left on the 4-hour candle open. Yeah, part of me is also a little bit mixed here on draw, just given if price wants to go lower, it should do so from here, especially this 4-hour candle closure. So let's see. And then we also just took out prior day high, prior week high, which we don't have to go for those relative equal highs. Weekly, I think, man, it's tough. I think the weekly bar can potentially look very bearish just to come back down and again, trade into the monthly gap entry. So this is my overall larger term objective, the 505.17, 285.17. Would it be this week, next week? I have no clue, but that is where my target is. So if that is the target and draw, not saying it has to go there, but based how price is looking currently, if we trade past these highs, past these highs and just continue, then of course that remains unfilled, and then we more than likely continue, right? But where we are currently is we're ranging, trading lower lows and why is this over here? Okay, trading lower lows and higher lows and lower highs, kind of this form of like wedging, right? I think we are essentially accumulating to manipulate, then redistribute on the higher time frames. But okay, so the new 4-hour candle just opened. Let's see. Yeah, the thing is here, chat, like to the upside, this does not look like I don't want to be longing that last 4-hour bar. I don't, especially after getting divergence at the highs. After, let's see, daily. We're trading underneath the new week opening gap. One hour. See, let me remove this. Yeah, we'll be very patient here. Block. So we have a 15-minute order block around premium of this leg. The relative equal highs up above us. Let's see. Kind of this. Essentially the low of the day. Discount PD array. So if I was to look for shorts, this would be the target, right? The 776 level. Let's see how we react in this area. The last 4 hour, yeah, it's tough. Read is tough today, honestly, for me. Again, just given that on the monthly, we have I'd want to see us trade lower, right? I'd want to see us trade lower on the weekly. We've just kind of been in this range. Yes, last week's bar is not bullish at all, right? We traded all the way up here and closed at the lower fifth of the range. We just took out prior week's bar on ES. The daily, we inverted the bullish gap here, and we traded up to about, what was it, premium of the range, was it? Yeah, we traded back up to premium. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I guess we are delivering from a bullish gap. Inverse this bearish gap to the left of us. 4 hour. Yeah, it's tricky, chat, just given how I have an objective here for ES, given how ES is currently trading, and NQ just created divergence and is very much heavier to the downside, right? So for me, let's see, where's equilibrium here? Equilibrium of the wick. Oops. The CE of the wick. We have a 15-minute breaker here as well. So if ES, this is a good scenario that I'd be willing to take, is if ES takes out the 7,600 level and NQ can just come up and trade into this break, 15-minute breaker, 15-minute order block, the wick CE, and perhaps even the relative equal highs here on the 5-minute. That would be a good short idea for myself. 5-minute relative equal highs up here, right? That's about the only trade I'd be interested in, especially leaving behind these relative equal lows here on ES. Yeah, I think if so long we hold this general area, like the 30,000 level, I think the objective for the week could be these lows, the 160. Weekly, monthly. Let's see, delete that. So yeah, at this point, just patience and waiting. Back to chat. So I guess I should change it. Whoops, what the fuck just happened? My right monitor just went black. All right, cool. So cash sidelines. Ideally, shorts look amazing, but I'm gonna just go ahead and leave it at cash sidelines. I'm waiting to see price give me more. What is it, BPR? It is balanced price range. So did I remove it? So it's when two fair value gaps overlap. So we had a bearish gap here. So if I go back, replay. We have a bearish gap here on the 15-minute, overlapping a bullish gap, which then later comes back and serves as a strong area of support. We're currently in, right? Balanced price range. Yeah, it'd be nice if, again, ES takes these highs out up here and NQ only trades into this area. That would be a nice short. There's no lower wick on the 4-hour candle here, so that's nice, right? Let's offset this a little bit more. Let's see. I learned my lesson the hard way, trying to leave a cushion and blowing it, take the money. Yeah, absolutely. I learned it the hardest way you could probably, I mentioned this prior, like in my option days, I turned a $3,000 account into about, it was over 10,000 in profits, right? I got it close shy of 16,000 in about a little bit over a month. And I blew it all in essentially 2 days, 2 trading days. The biggest lesson I took there was withdraw, pay yourself. The money is not, in my head at the time, right? Which was a lack of experience in my end, which was the more money I have, the more I could make. And it's the complete opposite, right? What I should have done in the right move, I should have taken during that time is withdraw most of it, if not almost everything. Come back to, if it was at 3, come back to the same amount, or what's it called? Maybe a little bit more, maybe 4 or 5,000 in that account. But yeah, after that, shortly after that, I think I took what was that? No, it wasn't shortly. It was probably like a year after. I took the mastermind, and one thing Jake preached often was pay yourself, right? Whether that's at the end of the week, at the end of the day, at the end of the month, whatever it is, pay yourself. And it made sense after going through that experience. What strat are you using? It's essentially ICT, price action, bar by bar analysis. I use fair value gaps, order blocks, swing highs and lows, session highs and lows, prior day highs and lows, prior week's highs and lows. So it's pretty straightforward, but I guess I use fair value gaps and order blocks as a way to catch potential higher lows and potential lower highs in trend or ranging conditions. You're playing the same music as prop firm match? Who's yeah, I have no idea who that is. Prop firm match. Yeah, if so, they're copying me because I've been playing this since the beginning of the project. Now I'm playing. Yeah, I want a short and cute price range. Again, it'd be nice to see ES take out the high, trade lower, while NQ strictly trades into this area. Catch a short. I love how this 4-hour candle does not have a lower wick, or I guess it has a teeny tiny little wick, but yeah, so long this high remains untapped, my bias would still be short. If ES can take out the 7,600 level, because at that point, in my opinion, there's no really good or obvious draw other than the swing high up above us, which I don't think we get up there quite yet. Let's see. Check the 30-minute. How's the 30-minute looking? Now the question is, does ES actually go up to trade into that high, or do we also just turn around from prior day and prior week highs? 4-hour daily, 15-minute. We'll see how the 15-minute closes here in the next 3 minutes. So far, we're in a weekly, in a 30-minute fair value gap, 15-minute fair value gap, 5-minute fair value gap as well, but waiting on that to happen, chat. Did you say Ibiza sunset as the music? Yeah, literally. Ibiza sunset low. I feel like if ES takes out the high while NQ test overnight highs, that would set up a perfect short. Test overnight highs. Overnight highs. Yeah, literally. That's exactly my short idea, JTP. Literally exactly what I'm looking for. I think, in my opinion, if that happens, that would be an A+ setup. Now, could an A+ setup still fail? Yes, but I think that if that were to happen, but the big if is NQ is still heavy, right? Heavy to the downside. Catch a banger today. Let's see, Rafa. Let's see what we can catch, man. The 30-minute. So the 15-minute candle closes here in the next couple of seconds. Yeah, we inverted this bearish. Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for here on ES. See if it closed over or under. Closed over so far. 15-minute, 5-minute. We are in premium of the range. Let's see, how's the 1 minute looking here? Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to see here is if price really wants to go up to take out the 7,600 level or 7,599. Because price can quite literally reverse from this area. We already took out prior day highs and NQ is lagging. We did get divergence, so that's something I'm paying attention to. Now, exactly what we're doing here is what I wanted to see. Now, let's see if we actually fulfill it. Never use volume profile with FEGs, IFEGs for entry. Never, ever, ever, ever. Shit, my water bottle was, the cap was off. I was literally about to shake it. Okay, let's see. I have an alert set here for 7,599 is literally what I'm waiting for, chat. We did tap into my area of interest here for NQ shorts. Now let's see. 1 hour, 4 hour. Let me remove this for now. Remove that. Let's clean up the charts a little bit. 4 hour inversion. Let's remove that. We don't need that. So I guess I could switch this to looking for shorts. I'm looking for shorts here. With the contingency that NQ remains being the weaker asset, right? If we just trade above 7,600 and continue, then I would literally do this. Go to cash sidelines, right? So I'm short bias contingent upon what I literally just walked you guys through, right? Which is if ES takes out, pay attention to how I'm wording things, right? If ES takes out the 7,599 and NQ can hold the 4 hour CE, 15-minute breaker, 15-minute order block at premium of the range, 15-minute bearish gap. Then we would have divergence at the highs, right? Divergence at prior day's high, prior week highs, and internal divergence at these this swing high to swing low over here. If all that can happen, I would look for a potential short entry into discount of the range, which is essentially you call it, or no, low of day, sorry. Discount of the range being the swing high to the low. Premium discount. Now, let's see. Again, what I keep kind of monitoring and coming back to is the fact that the hourly left relative equal lows here at the hourly gap. And the hourly took out prior day and prior week highs, which we don't have to come up and take out that swing high to the left of us here on ES. But something I'm kind of paying attention to see if we get a potential entry in this area, I wouldn't be opposed to taking it. But the A plus setup would be if ES takes out the 7,600 level. We have another 10 minutes left on this 15-minute bar. This 15-minute bar currently has no lower wick. We just tapped the breaker, the order block. We did tap into this fair value gap that we're currently, again, only 5 minutes in. We have no lower wick, so it's something I'm paying attention to. 5 minutes. Five-minute is about to close right now. Something like that. Let's see. It would also be around a psychological number, the 30,000 level. Setting up the back end stuff over here. Got that set up. Again, let's be very patient and not rush into anything, but man, I really want to see ES take out the 7599. If ES can do this, quick pop, trade back lower, and then that's where I get my entry here. It's looking beautiful. Or let's see, there's 8 minutes left on this 4 hour, or not 4 hour, this 15-minute bar. So far we have this invert here. And change in state. That would be willing to give that a shot. Especially if the 15-minute closes, if we get it in the next 7 minutes, the 15-minute bar. Pay attention to the 15-minute bar. There's currently 6 minutes left on it. If I can get an entry within the next 6 minutes, that bar is going to look very bearish, right? Leaving a big up bullish bar. And we're kind of getting this double top gap prior day highs in my area of interest. And getting an invert here on the 1 minute and a change in state, which is all it is a market structure shift. Something to pay attention to. Back to chat. Let's see. Sup, everyone? Chris, my guy, what's up, brother? What indicator is that 4-hour candle on the right of the chart, if you don't mind me asking? It's the 4-hour power of 3 bar. It's this one by Lux Algo. Jake is working on an indicator that's going to incorporate the power of 3, the kill zones and pivots that I use, and the new day, new week opening gap. If all in one indicator that you really don't need anything else, so it should be nice. He currently has this one already, but yeah, it should be. I'm excited to try it and literally just have one. You ever trade Asia session? Nah. I in the beginning of the project, I try to experiment with it, and it's good. Like every session could be profitable. Although I genuinely believe that New York session is goated. Like I think there's no better session than New York, in my opinion. And it's because I found the most success trading AM session, specifically the first 2 hours, right? But even now, like PM session, like if I wasn't streaming, I would not be touching PM session. And that's just me being honest, right? I think that I'm here, I'm gonna trade it, right? But I think that you can make more by doing less. I'm pretty sure everyone here got into trading that have more time, not to be glued to a screen every session. Just all price action, brother. VPA volume price. Yeah, I don't even know what VPA is. I'm assuming volume price analysis, maybe. It's all the same thing, Andrew. It's the same shit, just worded differently, worded fancily. Just I think it's just a marketing thing. It's all a change of state is a market structure shift. All a change of character is a market structure shift. How was your 4th of July? It was amazing. Yeah, I went to my parents' house. My whole family was there, and we had a low cookout. We had some carne, and then yeah, enjoyed some fireworks. Half of my gains are typically in the first 30 minutes. Yeah, I noticed that that majority of my profits come from the 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern time window. So why would I, if 80% of your profits come within a certain window, right? Your overall objective shouldn't be to trade more outside of that window. Your overall objective should be to focus on that window and try to scale it, right? Do you trade funded or live? Both. I do both. Let's see. So we have another 2 minutes left on this 15-minute bar. We just took out the high, so we got divergence here. Right? Divergence. We haven't yet taken out the high, which is kind of what I wanted to see, but we are inside a 30-minute gap, 15-minute gap, 15-minute order block, 15-minute breaker. We are below the 4-hour wick CE. We have a small little inversion here. We have change in state. So if we invert this with speed, I'd be very interested in taking this. I think this has a lot of potential to the downside, but again, what I wanted to see was the 7599 level. Now, do we have to go up there? Not necessarily. I love how the 4-hour candle looks. We did get divergence up here, targeting the low-hanging fruit, essentially, discount of the range. We did trade up to premium of this down leg. 15-minute closes here in the next 30 seconds. Let's see if we close inside this bearish gap. Nice. Amazon just got here, I think. So currently holding this bullish gap here on the 5-minute. We traded right into the 30,000 psychological level, which is, I guess, an extra layer of confluence. Okay, so the 15-minute just closed inside this bearish gap. 30-minute closed inside this bearish gap. 5-minute. Let's see. These relative equal lows here on ES could be targets as well, right? Right in the hourly gap, which would be the swing low essentially. $30-minute, the hourly. $5-minute. Yeah, very patient here, but I am interested in shorts. Ideally, once we invert this bullish gap. Bro, I have a question. You said you're creating an indicator. Not me, Jake is. Jake is creating an indicator, or not Jake specifically, but he has someone working on it, and it's going to be very. I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited to use it. Okay. I'm looking at this 1-minute candle. Ideally, I'd wanted to close underneath this box to get an entry. Let's see what the next 10 seconds can do. We just closed here. We did invert the 5-minute. We tapped into the 5-minute order block. Just waiting on the 1 minute to get an invert here. Waiting on the 1 minute to give me an invert just for an entry here. What's the R multiple to this low? 0.5. One hour close in the next 25 minutes. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm trying this short here. We did tap into the 15-minute BPR. Look. Yeah, I like this regardless to try it early. Again, I wanted to see the 7599 level get taken first. But I'm willing to try this. This is looking good. Target being the 777. Let's see. Let's see if this divergence here at the highs was enough to keep us trading lower, or if we trade higher and take out the 7600 level. Right. So right now, hands off, waiting for price to do its thing. Yeah, we tapped into that bullish gap here on the 15-minute. It's not the reaction I'd want to see. Let's see, where's chat? Short target, my short target would be essentially discount of the range, which would be low of day essentially. Or if ES can tap into these relative equal lows here at the 575 level, that'd be my short target there. Whatever hits first, I guess. Sorry, I love the music. Can you please share the link? Yeah, I got you. Got you. Let me see. Copy. Paste. Oh, wait. They're pasting this on stream. That's what I'm currently listening to here. Yeah, let's see if we continue, or I'm getting ticked out. Literally just gotta lean back and let it do its thing. Here. Thank you very much for that. Got you, brother. Yeah, I agree. It's a waiting game, and then when you see it, you pounce. One thing I noticed is how chill you are when you trade red, green, break even. Little emotional change from you. Trying to learn that from you, my guy. LML. No, you know what's one thing, a learning curve for me was just taking losses on stream, and I'm still dealing with that. Just given that I'm very, like, naturally, like I'm a people pleaser, right? Like I hate saying no to people, and in streaming, like, I'm aware that close to 300 people are watching, so taking losses inevitably, in my mind, I know people will more than likely, not everyone, right? A handful of people are going to follow, and it's not even the loss that I'm ticked up over. It's the fact that I feel like I'm letting people down in a way, right? Where in reality, it's like a whole nother learning curve where I understand that it's part of the game, but people essentially will tune in for the first time and see me take a loss, and then kind of judge me based on the loss, essentially, and maybe they took it as well and they took a loss on, and they can't take it in the chin and they don't understand the game. So yeah, I appreciate that I guess feedback, Adam. It's something that I'm currently working on and more than likely continue to work on, and it's amazing. Lomeli, who you got for Spain and Portugal tonight? I'd say, man, if I had to pick one, it's tough. That one's gonna be a tough one, but I want Portugal to win. How crazy would it be, chat? Portugal versus Argentina in the final. The two GOATs getting ready to retire. See. Yeah, this isn't looking too well. This is like the last little line in the sand, this little 1 minute in or bearish gap. Five minutes. 5 minute bar closed in the next 90 seconds. Yeah, if this takes me out, I literally caught the bottom. Bummer. So long we hold prior day highs and prior week highs, and I mean, again, obviously, don't get stopped out. This is looking very good. That 5-minute bar is looking like it's closing significantly more bearish than where it was looking up here. Let's see how this 5-minute bar closes in the next 15 or so seconds. Man, what the fuck is this little volatility, man? Yeah, it's not what I wanted the 5-minute bar to close like. Minute. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, looking like. Lomeli, I gotta buy you and Gamma Jamma Family Mitch dinner. Your analysis helped me blow less accounts. My guy, that's what we're here for, brother. Hopefully one day we can make that happen. What's the stop loss? Is that swing high? It's exactly 30,000, 30,175, which looks like it's going up there. Man, I should have. Yeah, I think if this does fail, I think it was a little bit front running the overall objective, which was the 7,600, like I kept mentioning on stream, which is fine. But I just figured that prior day high and prior week high was enough to turn us back around to trade lower. It's looking like I'm gonna get ticked out here. Book. All right, starting PM with a loss on the week. Let's see. Yeah, so now hands off, waiting on the 7,600 level to get taken before I even try to do anything else. Again, that 7,600 level is the relative equal highs, which is what I was kind of targeting this morning. I figured that the prior day high was enough for me to turn back around and play a short. But yeah, let's see. Let's see, once we take out the 7,600 level, and if NQ can continue holding, I would be willing to restab. This is still looking good. It's just I just need to see ES come up and take that out. Just look at Mexico last night knocking on the door that England pops him up to. I don't know where. I know. I've noticed that the only time I've top ticked and enter is where it goes against me. Success in trading isn't the money you make, but your ability to manage your risk on your trades. Yeah, it's not doing anything after anything stupid after a winning and a losing trade. Let's see. Man, if I just got ticked out just for this to turn back around, man, I'm gonna be hot. Let's see, waiting now. If this actually turns around. Let's see. Yeah, what I want to see is ES take this out and NQ continue holding for me to take a trade. Otherwise, I'm cash on sidelines. Let's see what we can get. Let's see if we can make that happen before 12 or before 3 p.m. Eastern. Still think ES or NQ looks good to the downside. And ES just has to, doesn't have to, but I want it to take out the 599 first before I try anything. Again, we are at premium. My read is that last four-hour candle is not bullish whatsoever, right? We got divergence here with NQ and ES. Prior week highs and hopefully the relative equal highs that we have up above us. There's no lower wick on the 4-hour candle. We are at premium / OTE of the range of this leg. And the daily inverted this gap. We're trading back up in premium of this leg. The monthly, like I said, we're in a range on the weekly. Yeah, the monthly doesn't have to, but the 517 would be a level that I'd be looking for price to come back down and retest. So long we don't break out of this range, right? Which, like, duh, right? Hindsight. But the way ES and NQ have been trading the last week and coming into today is NQ has been significantly weaker than ES. ES has been trying to pop higher, which it has, right? Meanwhile, NQ has every pullback that ES has, NQ has been dumping, right? Take these 2 bars and last 2 bars here, very bearish, almost at the lower end of the range. And yeah, so this would be essentially quote unquote buy side. And this would be retracing back into a 50-minute order block, 15-minute breaker, the 4-hour wick CE in premium of the range, right? The premium of this down leg. So I have a clean objective. I have a game plan. Now it's just the last thing that I want to see is ES top literally two and a half more points and have ES NQ hold this area, then look for a short entry. Otherwise, I don't trust it just yet. I took a stab anticipating that the prior day high, prior week high was enough to have ES reverse. And that was the loss you guys saw me take. So now, let's see. You execute NQ or MNQ? MNQ. It depends, but for the most part, MNQ. Noise Visions, I got you. I'll get through DMs today. I'll get through most of them. You come live daily? Yes. I do come live daily. Yes, no, I am live every single day, Monday through Friday for the most part, 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. Bro said, "Hey, I was waiting to see if chat caught it." Them rookie numbers, man. That's how you know you guys are a whole bunch of degenerates, man. You guys know exactly what that meant, man. And then the fucking Wolf of Wall Street reference. You pause way too long? Nah. I was waiting for chat to say something. Chat gotta wake up, man. Just not on camera. Sounds like Arnold. Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking? Yeah. When that one video where Arnold is talking about, I come at gym, I come at home. Some rookie numbers. Yeah, he's like, matter of fact, I come in all the time. Fucking guy. Come at gym.
When a plumbing issue arises,
The fuck is this? YouTube? What a plumbing issue. Arnold, I come. What the fuck is this? Arnold.
Home, I'm getting the feeling of coming backstage when I pump up, when I pose.
So Mitch talking about chat.
I get the same feeling. So I'm coming day and night. I mean, it's terrific, right?
Come quietly or there will...
I'm like getting the feeling of coming in the gym. I'm getting the feeling of coming at home. I'm getting the feeling of coming.
That's how you know you're a real meathead. You get a feeling of coming at the gym. Crazy. This might be the spot. Yeah, literally kind of almost there. We're trying to fix some pipes. Yeah, all I want to see is ES take out that high for me to retry. If ES can do so, I'm all in. Don't tell me you came shy of Literally a fucking tick. Literally a tick. All right, I'm gonna go restroom real quick. Give me 1 second. Chat. I stepped outside real quick to pick up a package. I was like, what the fuck is that noise? All right, make sure no addresses here. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm excited to use it, chat. Okay, let's see. We are now in this area of interest. Let's see. We have an invert here. Man, I'm out of breath. I had to run outside to get the... I thought it was Amazon who came earlier, but it was my 8 sleep. So you know you're getting old, chat. I'm excited to open that up. Yeah, I'm retrying. I'm gonna look to retry shorts. There's no clear entry model here other than $15-minute bar. This would be my last take of the session here. Yeah, price is not really that thing is I have no clear entry other than 1 minute. I guess we did get a change in state here. Let's see. Yeah, waiting on an entry, but not really liking any entry here. Yeah, if I do take this, it'd be my last and only take here. It's 12:05, about 20 minutes left on stream, chat. 20 or so minutes. Let's see how price reacts here. Yeah, if this doesn't give me an entry, one and done type of day, I'm not gonna look for longs. Was only interested in shorts. We're also hovering around that 30,000 psychological number, which is quite interesting. Yeah, we are in my area of interest, but it's tough to get an entry here. I think the only entry would be this 5-minute invert. Once that gets that, get an entry on NQ. Yeah, I'm trying to see what else. Yeah, that's about the only. The new hourly candle just opened. We took out prior bar's high, so let's see if we get this sort of failure to go higher here on the last 4 hour hourly candle, which would mean respecting the CE of the bearish order block here on the 15-minute. Let's see. Yeah, it's looking like price is not going to give me an entry. Yeah, I'm locked in here. Sorry, chat, if I'm not looking at chat, but I'm locked in trying to see if I get an entry, but I'm not trying to force anything. We touched the 4-hour wick CE inside a breaker, inside a order block on the 15-minute. Now let's see if that's what reverses us now to the downside. Or we're just going to keep slowly trailing higher all day. Let's see what kind of day we get. Or end of day, sorry. 4-hour wick CE. All that is the 4-hour wick midway point, right? So swing, or not swing. The close to the wick high is the midway point of that wick. So in theory, if we were short, but if we were bearish, we should, in theory, respect that general area. Otherwise, price would more than likely continue. That's all it is. 5 minute. Yeah, I got you, brother. I agree with you. No need to force anything. Yeah. Literally locked in here trying to see if I get an entry, but not liking any sort of entry here, at least with how NQ is behaving. Now the relative strength is on NQ's court here with how bullish this last 15-minute bar has been compared to ES, right? Remove this for now. There's 90 seconds left on this 15-minute bar. Let's see how this 15-minute bar closes. Looking very bullish. Ideally, I would love for it to close back inside the range and not overlap this bearish order block here, right? If I had the money to force a trade, I wouldn't be here. I wanted more short bias during Asia. Yeah. Asia had a SpaceX, but I can't more. Yeah, I'm still, so long we hold this general area, I'm still bearish bias. So long we hold underneath 600, I'm still bearish. But currently, it's harder for me to get an entry model here. Maybe a close underneath here, have ES invert this gap. give me some sort of entry model. $30-minute close the next 15. Hourly. Set an alert here. This is 2-minute looking. Oh, this is a 5-minute. Yeah, more than likely gonna just stay cash and not do a single thing, chat. So long gonna, if we break outside of this breaker, I'm essentially gonna call it. And be done. But if we don't get an entry model here in the next couple of minutes. 15-minute. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, so I tried to short in this area. It didn't play out. I'm actively still looking for a short, but not really getting one. Not really getting one, chat. We'll see how we react at these relative equal highs here. What's up, Lomeli, back from the gym? How's today been so far? Good. I caught in the morning session, I caught my win, right? Caught a win for AM session, and today so far, one loser into session. It's been good. And more than likely gonna call it here in the next couple minutes. Lomeli, que lo que? What up, brother? Love to hear, bro. Appreciate that you and the crew are doing for the people out here, for real. Yeah, that's appreciate you guys for watching more than anything. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't really be streaming. So thank every single one of you guys. And I think Jay's gonna continue doing the overall bets with chat. So let's see when chat is able to win. I think today's bet would be on forgot who it was. Was it Norway and England? No, wait, I'm tripping. That's July 11th. July 7th. It's not on Portugal and Spain. Oh, US and Belgium. There you go. US and Belgium. Well, I think if Belgium wins, no giveaways. If US wins, there's double the giveaways on stream tomorrow. So let's if you guys are tuning in here, tune in to see what the score is. Let's see who's playing right now. Someone's playing currently, right? Portugal. 20 minutes in, 0-0. Looking like Spain. Looking at numbers, Spain is dominating. Yeah, I'm gonna pop up the game soon as after stream. Yeah, if we continue, I'm not interested. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the area where price reverse from. But even then, I'm not really, I wanted to take a short in this general area here, which I did. And, oops, not here. In this general area. Now we're deep into premium, which I'm not really interested. It's also 12.22. Yeah, I'm not really interested here. Yeah, we continue getting bearish divergence, Raymond. But if price wants to continue, then I don't want to force it, right? And price can more than, if this is, I guess, the last line in the sand here, this bearish 15-minute gap, relative equal highs, and that could in fact be a short, which 12.20. Yeah, I guess what I'm not trying to do is I'm not trying to fight the prevailing trend, which currently for PM session has been nothing but bullish displacement, and yeah, I don't want to get in the way of price trading higher here if it wants to continue. My thesis was if price rejects this general area, price would reverse or could reverse. Now that I tried it, we're up above it, I'm less eager to try it. Just set those equal highs. Calling it a day here. Have a good one. Yeah, have a good one, Pedro. Yeah, that's it for me too, chat. There's no giveaways today. Tune in for Wrong here live in the next couple hours. I'm gonna pop up the game here and see who wins. Yeah, that's it for me, chat. Thanks for watching, and I will be back tomorrow, same time. And yeah, let's see who wins between US and Belgium. Should be interesting. Appreciate you guys. Peace.